Victory or death.
Hey everybody, my name is Kenigmatic, and this is cast number 2, and today it'll be between RMA and the IRC channel for Guild Wars 2 Ringer. Now, a little bit of background on both teams. RMA has been around since 1998, and they've competed in everything from Diablo to Guild Wars 1, Ion, and they're hopefully going to try and compete in Guild Wars 2. A little bit of background on Guild Wars 2 Ringer. It is an IRC channel where anyone and everyone is welcome to come in and discuss SPVP and possible projects that they might have in the future, as well as to recruit, whether for a 5th person or 2 people for a 4th and 5th position. And there's people and teams from like Team Legacy, Matchless Gaming, etc. in there, constantly talking to people. And if you're trying to look for a team or you want to get involved in something, just go ahead and ask, and people are more than likely going to oblige. So a little bit about their team composition. RMA actually not going Guardian at all. They have 2 engineers instead. This might be problematic for their point holding capabilities, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked at the footage all too much, so whatever I see is going to probably be a surprise for me, just as it is for you. But we will be following the perspective of Demonstrative and Milted today from the IRC. They've been kind enough to let me cast this match. So, enough chit-chat, let's get to the game. Alright, they're going to do a 4-1 split on Force Nivellhell. This is actually fairly standard, given the fact that you have to go after those first NPCs, not only for the buff, but for those really good points. Now, it looks like their 5th is actually going to Spawn here, while the rest of RMA is actually going to Chieftain, while 1 remains on Henge. They're going to capture them off guard, it seems, actually going after the 100 Blaze Warrior that has been on Chieftain. RMA does get the Chieftain kill, but they are going to go after the 100 Blaze Warrior. Generally, in team fights, you want to go after the hardest hitting character first, because not only are they a little bit more squishy, but it puts a very good strain on the support characters as well. Healing is not that common in SPVP or in general in this game, and that is why you should do that. Now, it looks like their Guardian actually goes into Elite form to hopefully get off that group heal. This will heal everybody to full, and it goes off. They weren't able to actually interrupt him throughout the whole thing. Now, RMA is actually grouping up into one area, which is really bad for them because AoE will hit everyone, and it does allow for attacks to actually stack upon people. So if somebody swings it, they're going to hit multiple people. This is really bad for them and really bad form, it seems. Now, instead, they've actually retreated back into Henge, but does look like the IRC channel group is just going to go in and try and not only take out everybody, but take out Henge for them, so that way they can actually neutralize the point. Going after that 100 Blades Warrior once again, they are actually at the close point of RMA, so this is actually really bad for them because they're going to not only have a problem because they're going to have a longer time to go back to the fight, they're going to have to deal with more people coming in more frequently. Now, Demonstrative was downed, and Milton's not necessarily sure what to do. I believe he's going to keep instead, but the warrior that he is fighting that is down actually vengeances and is going to stomp him. Now, Demonstrative, I'm pretty sure, is not too happy about that, but this means that the 100 Blaze Warrior will once again die and will have to respawn. This could be a little bit bad for him. Now, going back to mid, Milt is actually going to help out their point defense, take out the rest of these people. Point defense will generally sit there and make sure nobody can capture mid, since there are only 3 points, not 4, so point defense is actually very crucial. And it looks as though they're able to stave everybody off. Demonstrative actually joining back into the fight, not stomping that down foe because he knows that Milton has it, given the fact that, well, he has it. And so, with the people on the high ground, Demonstrative's not able to do anything against them because he is melee, but he will line of sight them to make sure that they can't deal damage to him. Any more damage that they do is bad. Instead, Milted actually has a great sword, so he will be able to do range damage to them and will be able to help point defense. And actually, the Necromancer jumps down, and this proves to be very bad for him because being away from your friends means less support. Instead, he's going to go into the life form. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but this will hopefully mitigate most of the damage so that way he can continue the fight while his ally jumps down to help him, the Elementalist. Though it does look like Cecil goes down really fast, and so is the Necromancer Chanchin. So this is actually really bad for them in the fact that they have done nothing to try and contest middle. Chieftain is up, and It looks as though they're not going to do anything right yet. Demonstrative actually neutralized Henge and is actually scoping out the area to make sure that he knows how many people are in the area. Milted joins him, and it looks as though they're going to go after Chieftain, but seeing the two people, Demonstrative and Milted, in the same area, they're not as solidified in that decision. Demonstrative actually moving back out so that way he can scope out who is also joining the bout. We see that someone else is joining. I believe it's the Necromancer, and with that they're able to actually sort of redo their tactics in a way that will hopefully try and counter. It looks like Demonstrative is trying to go around to attack the Necromancer, but he does jump down, meaning that he'll probably have to run back around. But it does look like Milted's doing fairly well with his illusions going against that, usually using his greatsword for range. Demonstrative runs back in. Since he is a little bit more tanky, they're actually sort of coaxing the enemy teams out so that way they can have better positioning and can actually separate them. Looks like this was a very good decision. They're able to take down Cecil fairly quickly. And looks like they might actually move back on to Chieftain, but we do see the 100 Blades Warrior Rigel come back into the play. But the Necromancer Chanchin comes out, and that is really bad for him because now it is a 2-on-1. Hopefully trying to make it so that way they don't attack Chieftain, so that way they don't get the steal, but they make very short work of Chanchin, and it looks like Milt is actually going to down him. No, it's actually Demonstrative that's downing him, and Milt is actually going to go to Chieftain to try and get that steal, and he does manage to get it, leaving Rigel with very low health. He's not... 100 Blades Warriors are not really meant to be survivalists. They are generally meant only for damage. And now it is 2-on-1 once again with very minimal health. Going in for that stomp, though he dodge rolls out of it so that way he can evade the stun that the warrior has in the down state, and they move on after downing him. Very good plays. So now they're going to try and neutralize Henge, if not take it. And Milted's actually moving back towards Keep, if we see on the minimap. And this is where this team is actually very interesting and very smart in the fact that they have two people defending mid. This allows them to scout really well and see who's going where, and to possibly take out people that are going to support the rest of their team. So middle play is actually very good, and it does look like Henge is actually neutralized, and Demonstrative is moving on, possibly back to mid. Yes, he is. This fight with the Necromancer is actually proving very easy for Milted. However, with that stomp, he could be facing a few problems. So he's feared back into it, making his stomp not go down, and then he puts down the AoE damage. This puts poison on Milted, just enough to where it downs him. So we'll probably see Milted back in the game while he heals up, and Demonstrative is moving on to mid to try and help their point defense. They know that more people are coming, so they're going to try and defend this as hard as possible. Though the Elementalist moves on, Milted is back up, and the rest of RMA joins back into the middle. The 100 Blades Warrior tries to go in for that stun, and instead everybody moves out because 100 Blades makes you stay stationary throughout the whole channeling process, and they're able to just wail on everybody in a very, very, very efficient manner. Demonstrative getting attacked by that air elemental on the high ground, actually moving towards him so that way he can line of sight him. And the rest of the IRC group is actually moving to mid. No, some are staying at mine to make sure that it remains contested and if they can recapture it. And at the point, it looks like it is 485 to some 185. That's a 300 point lead. I'm going to call it now. The IRC group has won this match. Really interesting plays. They've made sure to at least have more than two, well, they've tried to have 2 points throughout the whole ordeal, as well as trying to get those really quick NPC kills. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you could, go ahead and check out the other cast I did. It's not entirely great. A little bit of self-deprivation didn't hurt anybody. Now, I plan to do a little bit more of these. If you could leave me a piece of feedback below to try and work on. I know I've done a little bit of recently, so I'm going to try and work on that more. If you could also like and subscribe and probably follow me on Twitter if you have any inkling to see what I'm doing. I'm trying to do more casts, so if you have anything else to send me, that'd be great. Also, if you could join us on IRC, there's a lot of people from the community in there actively talking and looking for people to be their fifths. I know Airho's in there, Power, and a few other well-known people from not only Matchless, Alpha Collective, etc. are in there. So if you could, come and check us out, and that would be great. Thanks for watching, guys.
Let's do it!